how far the conditions which ensured the successful working of the gold standard before the war had altered. It was the practice in those pre-war days for this country to allow its debtors to pay in goods and to assist them in time of difficulty by continuous lending. We did our best after the war to continue these practices, but our resources had been seriously impaired and the old conditions could not be restored. The difficulties inherent in the situation were for a long time disguised by the flow of capital from America to Europe, which was such a feature of the decade from 1920. We hoped that the difficulty would be only transitory, and we continued to try and avert the crisis by pursuing a policy of lending freely abroad. Unfortunately, the situation in Central Europe, which had been specially affected by the breakup of the old Austro-Hungarian Empire and the difficulties of reparations, proved impossible to maintain. First in Austria, then in Germany, banks began to crash. The lenders of short-term capital, on which these countries had largely depended, attempted to extract their capital. Exchange controls were imposed to save currencies from depreciation, and standstill agreements or moratoria were resorted to in order to prevent the outflow of capital. With these preliminary observations, I can now come to objectives. And I propose to sketch out in broad outline the policy of the United Kingdom government on the important questions with which the conference will have to deal. To bring about a recovery in the world level of wholesale commodity prices sufficient to yield an economic return to the producers of primary commodities and to restore equilibrium